Pedro Okoro is founder and CEO of Astute Copy Blogging. He is a pro blogger, coach, copywriter, and list growth strategist. He is also a pastor and a lawyer. Pedro is an award-winning author of 3 books, including Crushing the Devil, Your Guide to Spiritual Warfare and Victory in Christ, and Your Best Life Ever, 7 Keys to Maximizing Your Potential and Enjoying Everyday Life. Both Crushing the Devil and Your Best Life Ever have been translated into Portuguese. He has sold over 50,000 books, mainly in South America. He makes his home in London, with his wife and their 2 delightful daughters. Please welcome Pedro Okoro to Writing to Inspire 2020, your next level.
Right. So, God has been doing some amazing things at the Scribal Hub. And I've been told that God has been challenging and stretching everyone at the Hub to step up to fresh and higher levels in their Scribal journeys. And that individually and corporately, this challenge is manifested in different ways. The outpouring of Scribal grace, a desire for greater impact, and a commitment to learning new processes. So this year's conference, I believe, will provide further spiritual and practical impetus that's needed to make successful transitions. So, in March 2015, I think that's a good place to start. I created a lead magnet to grow my email list. If you're an online entrepreneur, you would know that you need to have a list. You need to have an email list. People say the money is in the list, so you need a list. So I created a lead magnet. So a freebie that I gave out to people who joined my list in exchange for their email addresses. I called it Your Best Life Ever, 7 Keys to Maximizing Your Potential and Enjoying Your Ordinary Everyday Life. I did the artwork myself. I think I traveled and took that photograph in Barbados, this photograph you see. And just, it wasn't anything great, anything, it was just, there was good content within it. Not a very massive ebook, but I had no intention of selling it. It was just to grow my list, something I gave in exchange. And then what I did was I put it on Facebook, as you can see here, 15th of March, 2015. You can see available for free, immediate download, Your Best Life Ever. But then something happened. I got a message from my Brazilian publishers who had seen this ebook on Facebook, and they're one of the largest Christian publishers in South America. They said they wanted the editorial team to look at it with a view to publishing it. And I told them, no, I don't intend to publish it. It's free. I'm giving it out for free. They said, no, they want to look at it. They insisted. So I said, okay. They looked at it. Long story short, they liked it. They sent me a traditional publishing contract. And later on, we'll look at the differences between traditional publishing and self-publishing. And this is what it transformed into. It's published in Portuguese. And so obviously, I stopped giving it out for free. And then because they published it, I thought, okay, I have to publish it as well. So I refined it, and this is what it looks like now. This is the English version. Now, let's take a look at the figures. I want to be transparent and I want to be open with you. Let's look at the figures from Brazil. So as you can see here, when I signed the contract, they sent me an advance of $1,000. Remember, this is a book I didn't intend to publish. I was just giving that for free. I got the $1,000 advance for it. And then, as you can see from the figures here, within 6 months of publication, we sold over 20,000 copies in Brazil. And to date, as you can see here, the book has sold 25,321 copies. As I said, that's a book I was giving out for free. I had no intention of publishing it. I had no intention of making money from it. But then something happened, and the rest, as they say, is history. So today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with you how I got there, how I got to where I am today, where God has opened such a massive door for me in Brazil. It's such a huge door that every time I have an idea, I approach them and say, "Send it. We'll have a look at it." It's an unbelievable door in a country whose language I don't speak. I've never visited Brazil, but because of this, I have a lot of following on social media from Brazil, particularly on Facebook. So today I'm going to share with you some tips, disciplines, and decisions that have helped me along the way. I'll try to share milestones as well. And the idea is that I'll be able to perhaps inspire somebody to step up and move up to the next level. But first, people say, how do you become good at writing? How do you become a better writer? There's nothing better I can say than what a gentleman called Brian Clark said. So he gives 10 steps to becoming a better writer. He says, write. I mean, what else do you have to do as a writer? Write, right? So write. And then write more. Write even more. Write even more than that. Write when you don't want to. There are times I don't feel like writing. Okay? Write when you don't want to. Write when you do. Write when you have something to say. Write when you don't have anything to say. Write every day. Keep writing. If you can maintain that discipline, you would improve your craft. You would step up to the next level. God will open doors for you. Okay? So 10 things to becoming a better writer. And I thought I'd just chip that in as we progress. Now, your next level, this is a call, I believe, to come up hither. God is calling you. God is calling me to come up hither. You know, one thing I love about God is that He always has something better. Okay, in the book of Deuteronomy, we see Moses and the children of Israel, and Moses is speaking to them, and he tells them, you know, how in Horeb, the mountain of the Lord spoke to them and told them He spent long enough in this mountain. And let's put that in context. Horeb was the mountain of the Lord. Horeb was where they experienced the presence of the Lord. Horeb was where, you know, God visited them. They experienced God. And for some of them, you know, Horeb was it. But God has something better. Horeb was not the promised land. Good as Horeb was, there was something better. They had to step up. They had to move up to the next level. So I don't know where you're at. Good as it is, fantastic as it is, there is something better for you. God has something better. And I want to challenge you today that there is something better. And if you can only step up, if you can only look up, if you can only be open to what God wants to do, you should be able to move up to the next level. So the Lord is calling us, He's calling you. He's saying, come up hither. The call of the Spirit of God is always to a higher place, to see more and to be more in God. That's because the Christian life is by design one of ever-increasing glory. I'll just read a few passages of Scripture. Revelation chapter 4, verse 1 in the King James Version, which I've already referred to in terms of coming up hither. After this, I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And I believe that for every one of us here today, there's an open door. You may not see it, you may not know it, but there is an open door. After this, I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was, as it were, of a trumpet talking with me, which said, come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. But we all with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. And Proverbs chapter 4, verse 18. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. I want to challenge us. So I put some thoughts together on moving to the next level. The first is, what do you hear? What do you see? We must hear to see, and we must see to become. Come up hither. It's the voice of the trumpet. Can you hear it? Beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord. As you come, as you take that step and you go up higher, it becomes clearer. And you begin to see him face as if he were face to face. Secondly, as scribes and writers, we must show commitment. We must be faithful. We are stewards and managers of our gifts and talents. And a manager, a good steward, is giving something, a product, a service, a raw material, a talent, a gift. And his duty, his responsibility is to work with it and work on it. And then someday he gives an account. And by the time he gives an account, that thing is supposed to have increased in value and become better. Thirdly, we must hear the King's voice. So I want to encourage us. I want to employ us. I want to challenge us. Let's graduate from just the commandment. The commandment is what he has said. Let's graduate to fellowship, to communion, hearing what he's saying now. What is he saying to you right now? You know, what he said yesterday was for yesterday, but what is he saying today? You know, like manna in the wilderness. They couldn't gather, they could only gather for today. They couldn't store it for tomorrow. What does the Lord say? You need to hear what he's saying now. What is he saying to you today? That should be number 4, not number 5. So this should be number 4. Get rid of the familiar and the comfortable. The price for walking on the water is giving up the comfort and safety of the boat. Sometimes you need to push yourself out. Okay, so push yourself out. The story I told you at the beginning didn't just happen. Because when I wrote my first book, Crushing the Devil, I had to make some very difficult decisions. And the book was published in 2012. I worked with a group in the US called Deep River Books, Christian publishers. And what they do is they do what they call partnership publishing. It was quite expensive. And then at some point they said, well, Pedro, it will be good for you to attend the an international Christian resources conference in Florida. And I thought, do I need to do that? And I prayed about it and discussed with my family and said, well, why don't you just go for it? So I went for it. And the highlight of it was that, apart from I met a lot of authors, it's if you can attend, it's an annual event, obviously because of this pandemic, it's no longer taking place. But if you can attend it, it's I met so many authors, some of my favorite authors I met there, Christian authors, and I had an opportunity to sign out copies of my book. So my publisher insisted that I give it at least 100 copies free. So on the day I was ready to give them out, there was a long queue of people, and I was signing autographs and giving them out. Now, 2 things happened from that conference. My publishers got an inquiry from Brazil, from this, the largest Christian publisher, one of the largest Christian publishers in South America, saying they would like to look at the book with a view to publish it into Portuguese, and also an inquiry from South Korea, from Christian publishers there who wanted to translate it into Korean, right? Yes. And so they negotiated on my behalf. The Korean project didn't take off. They couldn't agree, so that didn't take off. But then the Brazilian project took off, and so Crushing the Devil was translated into Portuguese, and they did all the work, as happens when they translate a book like that. And within 6 months of publication, Crushing the Devil in Brazil sold more than 30,000 copies. And so that was how the open door in Brazil came about. Such that if I post anything on social media, they look at it and say, let's talk to him. You know, maybe we should take a look at that. It was out of that obedience. If I hadn't gone to that conference in America, it cost me a lot. If I hadn't gone there, I would not be talking about being about the open door that the Lord has opened for me in Brazil. So sometimes you need to come out of your safety net. Sometimes you need to, push out. Some people say, well, you give 100 copies of your book for free. But then I sold 30,000 copies within 6 months in Brazil. Sometimes you need to step out. Sometimes you need to hear what the Lord is saying and step out in obedience to what He's challenging you to do. Now, a few more thoughts to challenge your thinking. That's one thing I like to do, to challenge your thinking. I do that with my young people in my congregation. I do that with my daughters. I like to challenge them. And I want to challenge your thinking today. And I believe that later on when I hear the other speakers, my thinking will also be challenged. Just to say, to indicate to the moderator, I'm feeling so at home, so comfortable that I've lost sense of time. So please, just let me know when I have like 15 minutes. Just let me know, because I can be here all day. So please, I'm feeling so at home. Just keep me in check, please. Thank you very much. Now, so the next 5 years, I can guess what your next 5 years will be unless you change. If you don't change, if there's no change, your next 5 years will be like your previous 5 years. It's only a lunatic, a mad person, okay, that expects change, things to be different without changing. So that's the first thing I would say. Secondly, the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. And somebody says that's the difference between success and failure. Let me ask you, are you prepared to do today what others won't do, so that tomorrow you will have what others won't have? I want to encourage you not to ever take the easy option. If you do what is easy, somebody says your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, if you take the hard decision, if you do the difficult things, your life will be easy. I love what Horace Mann said. He says, we must be ashamed to die until we have won some victory for humanity. The way I interpret that is, I must be ashamed to die until I have made an impact. Because you see, when you were born, you were loaded. You're not just ordinary. The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, in the New Living Translation, that you're a masterpiece. Okay, so although there are 10,000, 7,000, 7 billion people in the world, your fingerprint is unique. That's because there's something different about you. There's something unique about you. When you were born loaded, okay, with everything you need to make the world a better place. And so you were born full, you should die empty. So you must make an impact. You must make an impact. You were born to make an impact. God has loaded you with giftings and talents to make an impact. So you should be ashamed to die unless you've touched humanity. You've made an impact in the world. Thomas Jefferson says, if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. And Les Brown, one of my favorite online mentors, takes that a step further and says, in order to do something you've never done, you must become someone you've never been. Like I said, if you want to be something, if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. And to do something you've never done, you must become someone you've never been. That's the call to the next level. You need to step up to the next level. Now, I just want to rush through goal setting, because I think that's something that will help us as scribes. Okay, so I'm just going to rush through goal setting. So to move to your next level and to thrive as a scribe, you must learn the art of goal setting. I'm just going to run through this. My notes, by the way, will be available for you to download at the end. So if you think I'm rushing, don't worry. You have access to them. Okay, so somebody once said that success is goals and all else is commentary. So think on paper and write them down. Write your thoughts down. And as a scribe, that's one of the most basic things that we must do. I.e., to write down. Have something. Have a journal. Have your tablet, your phone by your bedside. Sometimes I wake up and I have ideas. If I don't write them immediately, I forget them. Sometimes I'm going about, I have ideas. I have to dictate them into my phone. Write it down. You need to write things down. Don't think in your head. Think on paper. The Bible says, write down the vision. Make it clear. Make it plain. Write them down. Now, you need to accept responsibility for your life. Everything that's going to happen to you for the rest of your life will be up to you. Okay? Yes, God has made grace available, but you need to access that grace. You need to receive that grace. You need to take hold of that grace. Nobody is coming to the rescue. Nobody is going to do it for you. So we must quit the blame game. No excuses, no complaining, no blaming, no criticizing. Now, this is something that's very important. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. What matters is where you're going. So the key is this: decide what you want. What do you really want from your journey as a scribe, from your journey as a writer? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? How far do you want to go? Decide what you really want. Write it down. Make a plan and work on it every day. So decide what you want, write it down, make a plan, work on it every day. Now, here's something that I've learned. You can learn anything you need to learn in order to achieve any goal you've set for yourself. It may take a few weeks. It may take a few months. It may take a few years. If you want, for instance, to become a brain surgeon and you're committed to it, in 7 years you can become a top brain surgeon. Whatever you need to learn to become what you need to become, to achieve any goal you've set for yourself, if you can learn it. That's just the truth. Anybody who is doing what you want to do, who's a high flyer in that field, they're not smarter than you. They're not better than you. They just know how to do it. Somebody has shown them the path. Somebody has shown them the way. That's just a simple reason. It's not because they're better than you. Not because they're smarter than you. No. Because you're a masterpiece. God took his time to make you. You see, I understand. I love Toyotas. I understand that Toyota, the Japanese, they master the art of automation. So they make a Toyota in 15 hours. Okay, but a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, is handcrafted. It takes 6 months to make a Bentley, and that's who you are. God took his time to make you. It doesn't matter what your parents told you about the circumstances of your birth. God rejoiced over you at your birth. God is prepared to leave the 99 and come after you. That's because you're special. You're unique. Okay, so whatever you need to learn to achieve any goal you've set for yourself, you can do. So decide what you really want. Idealize, visualize, imagine what you want as a scribe or in your life generally. So the idea of idealizing or fantasizing is like daydreaming, but so imagine you have all the knowledge, all the money, no limitations at all. What would you achieve? What would you like to achieve? Then you write them down. and crystallize them, make them clear, make them specific. When you write your goals, you write it as if you're placing an order, to a different part of the country. You're sending it by post, and whoever reads it, or whoever receives it, will be able to carry out your order without phoning you or asking for further instructions. Okay. Remember, if it's not written down, it's not a goal. Somebody said only 3% of adults write down their goals. They have written goals, and everybody else works for them. Make it measurable. Okay. Now, the next step is to determine the obstacles you need to overcome to achieve the goals. What obstacles do I need to overcome? Ask yourself, why haven't I achieved the goals already? Okay. I'm just going to rush now. Identify the information, the knowledge, and the skills you will require to get into the top 10% of your chosen field. So, as a scribe, what area of writing do you want to go into? What do you require? What are the skills, the information, the knowledge you require to get there? And then, what skills do I need to achieve my goals? And of these skills that I need, what's the top skill that will make all the difference? Now, also, this is very important. The Lord has placed what I call destiny helpers in our journey of life. So you need to ask yourself, who are the people that I need, whose help I need to step up? You need to identify the people whose help and cooperation you need to achieve your goals. Make a list of all the people who can help and ask yourself, what do I need to do to deserve their help? Okay. Right. So I'm just going to, because of time, I'm just going to rush to what I call lessons from the parable of the sower, and obviously you'll be able to ask questions, and as I said, you'll have access to my notes. The parable of the sower is obviously found in the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Yeah? And you can find it in Matthew chapter 13, 1-9, and in verses 18 to 23, Jesus gives the interpretation of the parable. But I want to put a different slant on it today for us as scribes, as writers and authors. So he says, a sower went out to sow. I mean, isn't that amazing? A sower went out to sow. The sower didn't go out to paint. He didn't go out to preach. He didn't go out to teach. He's a sower, so he sows. He went out to sow. You're a scribe. Okay, so what should you be doing? You should be scribing. You should be writing. Okay, so if it was a parable of the scribe, what will he say? A scribe went out to scribe, to write. So what should you be doing? Who are you? What's your calling? That's what you should be doing. Some people major on minors. Okay, I want to encourage you to major on majors. Because at the end of the day, that is what matters. Don't major on minors. Some people are so concerned about minors, it's unbelievable. Major on majors, not minors. Now, he had a bag of seeds, this sower. That tells me he was ready to step up to the next level. He didn't have just a few seeds. He had a bag of seeds. You see, somebody said that, in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, the Bible says, ask and it will be given to you. Because everyone who asks receives. Now that tells me that the problem is not with the source. The source is unlimited, is limitless. The problem is that some of us come to the ocean with a teaspoon to fetch. That's the problem. He had a bag of seeds. He was ambitious, was ready to step up to the next level. He had all the resources he needed to make a difference. And so in the parable, we're told that the birds they ate up some of these seeds. The sun scorched some of these seeds. The cares of this life, the vicissitudes of life, the deceitfulness of riches took some away. But because he had a bag, his bag was so full. He had bags of seed. He had more than the birds could take. He had more than the sun could destroy. He had more than the challenges of life could destroy. How much do you have? How much do you want to fulfill God's call upon your life? How far do you want to go? Now, he had tremendous opposition, but he kept going. He will not give up. He went through 3 stages of opposition. So the devil opposed him, the birds that came to eat up. But now there's only one devil. He manifests himself, there's demons everywhere, but there's only one devil. So if you keep going, it will stop. You go and look for somebody else. The elements opposed him. See, sometimes it will hail on your crop. You see, you plant a crop, you look after it, you watch over it. You plant a field, a vineyard, you watch over it, and it's fantastic. And just before harvest, there's a hail, and everything is wiped out, everything is destroyed. What do? Some people will take their lives. Some people will go and look for somebody else, something else to do. But those who know their God, who will be strong, who will do exploits, will keep going. They will keep going. So that's what this man did. This sower did. He kept going. He kept going. And the people, that his fruit. So the people that the outcome, the fruit, some of them were discouraged. But he wasn't discouraged, he kept going. And that's because he had energy, he had grit, he had determination. And I want to commend those to you as a scribe. In my journey, I've had a lot of rejections. And if you want to publish, if you want to go into traditional publishing, you would have rejections. You have to send out the proposal to an agent, and the agent, if he's happy, he takes up your work, and then he places you before a publisher. It's a long process. And I've had no's, but one thing I've discovered is that every no takes me closer to a yes. Every no takes me closer to it. So I don't give up because I know my calling. I know where I'm going. I know that I don't want to die loaded. I want to die empty. Okay, so he kept going. He had energy, he had grit, he had determination. It takes all 3 to keep going in the face of opposition. Why? He knew that somehow if he kept going, the results would come. And eventually the results came. It was 100-fold, 60-fold, 30-fold. And it doesn't matter whether it's 30-fold or 60-fold or 100-fold. No. As long as you have the results, that's good. As long as you're faithful and you have the results, that's good. You see, I tell my daughters to slay in their lane. Okay? Slay in your lane. Don't compare yourself with somebody else. You're on a journey of your own. Someday you get to give an account to God about how you live your life. Okay, so you need to slay in your lane. You're in your lane. Just don't worry about the person to your right, the person to your left. No. Worry about yourself. Slay in your lane. As long as you're faithful. As long as you're faithful. As long as you're faithful, God will help you achieve everything that you need to achieve. Psalm 126, 5-6 says, those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. And those who go out weeping, carrying out seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with them. Now, in the, okay, so I'm rounding up now, and the preacher in me is starting to take over. Okay, somebody once said that the ideal situation where a person is about to pass, to die, is to have their family around them, beside them, watching and praying and standing with them as they transition from this world to glory. But let me borrow your imagination for a moment. Imagine, if you will, somebody about to die, and instead of having their family around him, he has the ghosts of the books he never wrote, the songs he never composed, the poems he never wrote, the inventions he never made, the talent he never brought to life, all staring at him with large, angry eyes, saying to him, we came to you, but you never gave us an opportunity, and only you could have given us a chance, but now we must die with you. The question I have for you today is that if you were to die today, which books will die with you? Now, I've got an appendix which talks about traditional publishing versus self-publishing, so you'll be able to get that with the notes. And I'll have to stop here. It's very easy to get the notes. Just go to this link and you'll be able to download. I want to thank the Scribal Hub for this fantastic opportunity. As I said, I felt so much at home. It's been a fantastic honor, joy, and pleasure to be part of this conference. Thank you so much.
My brother, I can only say thank you for your time and thank you for offloading on us that which God placed in you. Wow. All right, now I know we're all doing wows and I can see all your chats, but we're going to have a quick time of question and answer. And thank you also for making the notes available. I'll be looking for, in fact, I couldn't even write. I was just fixated with everything that you were sharing. All right, so we're going to have a time of questions and answer. So let me ask the first question. So when you told us the journey of how the Lord opened that door for you. So the door actually did not start with it started with crush the devil and then to the one that you gave out free. Is it in that order?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now, but you and that was from 2015, 2016. But you've not been to Portugal. You've not been to Brazil. Any reason, or you need to learn the language first?
It's in the plan. So my next level will be I told the Brazilian publisher that I was working on a devotional, and they said, oh yes, they want to have a look at it. So the next level is to time the release of that with a visit to Brazil.
All right. Okay. Awesome. That is wise. That is wise. Okay. So thank you for that. We have a question coming. Well, this let me see. Read it out. Thanks, got the awesome presentation. I feel really challenged. I have written 2 books and just did not know what to do next. I have one on Amazon, but I've not sold a copy yet. What have I not done? Is that a question or a lamentation?
Okay, so one of the things I've learned is along the journey I've done a few courses. Something I didn't mention. So self-improvement, and I'm happy to give out that information. So one of the courses I took is called Your First 10,000. It's by an author. He's not a Christian, but the idea is you need to grow your email list. Like, I've mentioned email lists, and one of the things that was said about me is that I'm a list growth strategist. So what happens is this: when you write a book, for instance, for it to have any mileage on Amazon, on the day you release it, it needs to have reviews, 5-star reviews. If it doesn't have reviews on the day you release it, it's not going to move. Okay? How do you get those reviews? So that's where your list comes in. So if I'm releasing a book, what I do, I kind of sensitize my list that a book is coming out. And then I ask them to indicate those who will receive advanced reading copies, ARCs. Okay, so they tell me, and then I put my condition. If you receive an advanced reader's copy or advanced reading copy, you must read it. On the day of release, you must post a review. Okay, I don't have control over what review you write, but you must fulfill those conditions. If you agree, then I send you the advanced reading copy. So they receive this advanced copy, and then on the day the book is released, at the time the book is released, they're already reviews on Amazon. That gives it a mileage. It helps Amazon to start to promote it. The other thing is, Amazon is like a search engine. So when you're placing your book there, you need to optimize the keywords that people will be searching for in relation to what the book is about. And then also the way you write your the blurb on Amazon, all those are key. Now, in addition to that, the other people on your list, because they know you, generally people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Okay, and one of the things with traditional publishing, why a lot of people are rejected, is because they look at your audience, because they expect you to also promote it to your audience. So if you don't have a large audience, it's difficult. That's why somebody like Michelle Obama writes a book. In fact, she doesn't write a book. The publishers go to her and say, "We want your memoirs," because she has millions and millions of followers. Okay, so they're prepared to pay her $1 million as an advance, as opposed to giving me $1,000, because they know that if she goes on Twitter, Twitter will break down. Okay, everybody wants a piece of it. She travels around, the news outlets that will interview her about the book. That's the power of your audience. So you need to, so those who are remaining on your list, you need to sell the book to them. So you sell to them and you encourage them to sell to others, to promote it to others, and that's how you grow. So you need to grow your audience, grow your social media presence, and grow your list. I don't know if that helps.
Well, thank you so much for that. That definitely helps. We'll probably just take one more question. And if there are questions that come in, we will kind of spill them over to the next speakers and just collate all these questions. But this has been very good. Thank you so much. So let me see. Would you recommend uploading books on a new book app? Now, I don't understand what that means, new book app. Let me look at another one for books. For books not doing well on Amazon presently, what can one do to improve the ranking and sales? I think he touched on that just now. Let me see if you can get one more. Okay, that was reading twice. Okay, all right, this last one, this will be interesting. How can one get better as a blogger? It's down your street. You're muted, sir.
Okay, so Brian Clark is a blogging expert, and those 10 things I mentioned about writing better is a good starting point. But what I like to say, I don't know if this person is a new blogger or is already has a blog. So to blog better, or to get better as a blogger, you need to improve your writing. You need to collaborate and connect with other bloggers, particularly influencers in your niche, and that's it really. So write better, connect with other bloggers, and connect with influencers in your niche, because if influencers promote your work, if they mention you, your blog would grow. Now, it's also important to note that blogging is there's so many bloggers. I mean, we're told that there are over 100 million blogs. So everybody is vying for space. So you need to be able to break through the noise and be have a platform where people can identify you, and where they can know you. So those would be my recommendations in terms of getting better as
thank you so much for that. And this will be the last one. What advice for a prospective writer has just disappeared? I think he says something about being better at speaking than writing. Let me see. What advice for a prospective writer who is better at speaking than writing?
Okay, so if you're good at writing, if you're better at speaking, then what I would suggest is you you can detect your so instead of typing or writing, you can talk into a microphone. You can dictate and record what you're saying. Okay. Now, I recommend having an editor to work with you. Okay. So if you fall into that category, then you need an editor to hold your hand and help you through the process. Okay. So just get a microphone, record yourself, just talk and speak into it, and then get that transcribed, send it to your editor, and then work with your editor to get to where you need to go. Now, the other thing I need to mention very quickly, in terms of building an audience, Medium is a great place to start. Okay. Generally, I encourage people to have their own platform, because when you build on your online business on social media, on other platforms, it's like building your property or business on rented lot. Okay, because if your whole business is on YouTube, one day YouTube will change the algorithm and everything can be wiped out. Okay, but if you have your own blog, you have your own email list, then if that happens, you can still communicate with your people, right? Now, but Medium is a great place to start, to build an audience. If you write if your writing is good, people would start to follow you. People will start to applaud you. The clapping system, and then from there you can then gradually grow your audience. I know of a chap who did a lot of work on Medium, and he ended up with a huge book contract. So that's a good place to start.
Wow, thank you so much again. Thank you for your time. This has been a very loaded session, and what a way to start writing to inspire your next level. Thank you, Pastor Pedro, for being a blessing. And I love your heart. You've not just come to impress, you've come to bless. And then you said you also came to learn. And such is it. So that's the thing about writers. When you have a writing community, you're always drawn to that, because iron sharpens iron. We learn from each other. The day that you stop learning, you stop growing. But you have grown us in many ways just in these last few minutes, and may we leave this session better people, having heard what you've come to share. So God bless you. Thank you so much once again.